very good evening to everyone present here tonight. My name is Brian and I will be your host for tonight. On behalf of the JPO family, we'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone tuning in for tonight's broadcast. We hope that everyone is doing well and staying safe indoors. A friendly reminder to maintain good hygiene at all times and maintain social distancing when heading out. As we'd like to continue improving your experience with us, please help us achieve this by completing the poll that will be published during this broadcast. To anyone who is interested in sharing tonight's broadcast, a live feed is being shared on the JPO YouTube channel. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please feel free to type them out in the Q&A section down below. For those of you joining us from YouTube, please type out your questions in the live chat down below. A recording of the webinar will also be uploaded onto the JPO YouTube channel. Tonight's seminar features Dr. Tham Horng Kent, with his topic being Reimagining a Pianist. As our JPO family attendees are mostly students ranging from primary school to college, their parents and their teachers, the sharing of knowledge and advice here for all of us tonight is invaluable and greatly appreciated. The JPO is very honored to have Horng Kent join in as our guest for tonight. I hope you'll all join me in giving him a warm welcome. Dr. Tham Horng Kent earned an Asia Yamaha Music Scholarship in 2007 and graduated from the Royal Conservatory of Scotland, Glasgow, with distinction in a Master of Music Performance degree back in 2011. From 2012 to 2016, he was awarded a full scholarship by the Malaysian Higher Education Ministry and the Sultan Idris Education University for his doctoral studies at the Royal Irish Academy of Music in Dublin, where he obtained a Doctor of Music in Performance degree. In 2016, he was invited by the European Academic Artists Association to give a piano recital in a Tallinn Town Hall, Estonia, and won the first prize in the 26th Young Musician International Competition Città di Barletta for both the duo and ensemble categories in Italy. Academically, Horng Kent was invited to present lecture recitals in various conferences and prestigious music academies, such as the UCSI University Piano Pedagogy Conference in 2017, the Performers Present International Artistic Research Symposium in 2019 at the Yong Siu To Conservatory of Music, National University of Singapore. He also provided a lecture recital at the second and third Doctors in Music Performance Festival Conference at the Royal Irish Academy of Music, as well as the Lithuanian Academy of Music and Theatre. With his extensive accomplishments, he was even invited to be a jury member for multiple competitions, including the first and second WPTA Finland International Piano Competition, the third Odin International Youth Piano Festival in Estonia, the Kingsburg International Piano Competition held in China, as well as Kota Kinabalu's own music festival in Malaysia. Most recently, he was honored to be one of the recipients of the Emerging Artist Incubation Funding Program, awarded by the Malaysian Cultural Economy Development Agency, or Cendana, in promoting Malaysian contemporary art music. Currently, he serves as a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Music and Performing Arts at the Sultan Idris Education University here in Malaysia. So without further ado, once again, a very good evening to Horng Kent.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the nice introductions, and really grateful to be part of this broadcast live for interview. Yeah.
The pleasure is ours. The honor is ours for you joining us tonight. So
Thanks. Yeah.
So to start tonight's interview, what can you tell us about the video performance that we were just watching?
All right. The piece that I just performed actually is by an Argentinian composers, Hinastera. Is his 3 pieces for solo piano. So I performed it during a music festival in Belgium, in Europe. Yeah, I think that one is 2014, if I'm not mistaken, during the summertime. Yeah, because there used to be a lot of festival during the summer period in Europe. So I used to perform quite a few of the festivals over there. Yeah.
All right.
Mm.
So could you provide some background to yourself as a pianist?
All right. Based on the topic, why I choose the terms of reimagining a pianist is because um, I myself trained as a pianist, but uh, after many years of training and also many years of explorations with many kind of studies and programs, then I could see there are many paths or many ways that actually a pianist could find out for him or for herself. So for myself, maybe I should start with what I'm currently doing in my university. So I'm currently working as a senior lecturer at the Faculty of Music and Performing Arts, Sultan Idris Education University, or in Malay is the University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. Is located at Tanjung Malim, a beautiful small town from Perak. And actually, it's at the border in between Selangor and Perak. So it's about an hour drive from Kuala Lumpur, KL. So not too bad. And we have a train station here as well. So if any one of you interested and would like to have a look, have a sightseeing, welcome to Tanjung Malim. It's a nice place. So here is my, actually I'm now in my office room. Yeah, because to be honest, I don't have a Wi-Fi in my rented room in here. So that's why I'm using internet here. So basically working as a senior lecturer, not necessarily in my university, but in general in a academic setting, especially if you're working as a universities setting. So I will say that we are, especially for artists, for example, for myself as a pianist, we actually have two roles. So one is as an academician and one is as a practitioner. So on academic side, maybe I could give a general pictures what we are doing actually in the university. So we are not only teaching, because as you can see from my university, there's a keywords on educations. So of course, many people will think that, oh, so mostly people coming here is to get teaching positions, probably in secondary school. But for now, actually, when what we are doing for the students, not only for teaching, but actually we also need to cover quite a number of tasks for our job scope. So for example, we need to do research, okay? And we need to have what we call the consultations, means we need to have some sort of, based on our expertise, for example, I'm a pianist, so I still need to perform or to give some seminars or master classes or anything that related with my expertise outside from the campus. Yeah. And then, so research, teaching, consultation, and of course, if possible, to have some sort of collaborations with organizations or committee that is also outside from the campus. So you could see there's a lot of things that we need to work as a lecturers in a university. And as a practitioner, that's why always when I started this job as a lecturer in here, it is always tricky to find a balance, good balance in between you doing your works as an academician and also you keep your skills as a practitioners. Because if I say practitioner means as a musicians. So because, you know, as a musician, we always try to practice, practice and practice so that to keep our skills always on at the top form. But I think I managed to find the balance, but actually still struggling to find a really good one. So that's why it's a very challenging job, but it's fruitful as well at the same time if you found the, you know, the meeting point or the balance point in between working as a academicians and also working as a practitioners. Yeah. So now I would like to show you some of the videos when I presented in some of the conferences, as Brian mentioned just now in my bio. So the first video I would like to share is I'm presented in the Lithuanian Academy, Lithuania, European country, which is near to, I think near to Estonia. It's a small countries around. and above is Finland. So let me just show you just part of the conference that I did in Lithuania. Okay.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tham. I'm from Malaysia. I hope maybe some of you know where this Malaysia is. It is in Southeast Asia. It's one of the maybe second biggest country in Southeast Asia. And the main populations is the Malay people, followed by Chinese and Indian and also others indigenous people in Malaysia. So today I would like to present you a lecture recital with the focus on one of the distinguished Malay composers. His name is Tazu Izan Tazuddin. So I will perform some selected solo piano works. So I will start with an introduction on the Malaysian contemporary art music. After that, I will discuss extensively about Tazu's solo piano works with observations on the performance issues of the selected works. Although some researches have been conducted on the Malaysian contemporary art music, but their focus are mainly on the historical development and the musical analysis of the composition itself.
All right, so that's just basically an idea to all of you, how when you're working as a senior lecturer in a university, beside you're teaching your students and also you do your research, and we need to actually present what is our outcomes from our research to the public as well. So one of the way is through presenting in conferences or in symposiums like the one as shown to the public people, so that they know what are the current new things that happening at this time. Yeah. So another one that I would like to show all of you is the one I presented in Singapore. So in Singapore, I presented on my own area, which is on the Schubert, okay? Because Franz Schubert is actually my doctorate research research focus on his works, especially on his piano works. Yeah. So let me just show you just a little bit on the Singapore conference.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the kind introductions. So I'm Dr. Tham. I'm from Malaysia. I'm currently working as a senior lecturer at the Sultan Idris Education University. It's about an hour drive from Kuala Lumpur. The focus of my university is more on education, but myself is a performer. I'm a pianist. So today I would like to share with you a lecture recital with the topic Constructing a Musical Plot in the second movement of Franz Schubert's Piano Sonata in A major, D959. So I will start with an introduction which includes the concept of a musical plot. After that, I will discuss extensively the musical plot in the second movement of D959, followed by a performance of the entire second movement, and we'll have a short conclusions for these presentations.
Yeah, so that's basically what usually we will do during a conference. So we present whatever we have done on our research, so that more people to get to know what is the latest information regarding to the things that you are doing. And usually it's just like these sharing sessions. We have the Q&A at the end, so that's the best platforms for for all the researchers or for us to share our knowledge with everyone. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I did have a small question of my own regarding these lecture recitals. Like, do
Yeah.
you like aside from giving the presentation, I am assuming that you also perform the
Yes.
particular work as well. Oh,
Yes.
okay. So then
Yeah.
you start breaking down everything. So you have to break down what you've researched and everything and present it.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
like the two presentations that I share with you all is not I'm not only like presenting, but actually I have some performance elements during the presentation. So I did perform some of the let's say the examples or even the whole works I also perform. So because it also depends on the durations that given by the conference and or the symposium. Yeah. So we need to always like figuring around to make sure everything is fit within the durations. Yeah. But basically, lecture reciter means you giving a lecture, but at the same time you also perform. Yeah.
Okay, so it's almost sort of like a lecture where you actually have to plan out like whatever you plan
Yes.
to present and everything. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. True. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Hong Kent.
My
So,
pleasure. Yeah.
so as a pianist, what are the opportunities or possibilities nowadays?
Yeah. So that leads to my the things that I mentioned before. So um, the the purpose that I choose, as I say just now, the words reimagining for this topic is um, because now I could see that as a pianist, we are not necessary because when you ask people in general, like let's say what is the job scope if you would like to be a pianist. So usually people will think, oh, maybe pianist is just for performing. So like let's say as a concert pianist. So of course, if you could achieve that, that would be really great because you're doing the things that you would like to do. But you know, uh, the music world here is very competitive. There are many, very much uh, high quality players, from all around the world. So um, as a pianist, I think we should trying to get to see what are the other path or what are the other shoes that we can fit within our own zone. So, for example, opportunities for a pianist, not necessarily only as a solo concert pianist, but of course, you could be, for example, now we have what we call the repetitor, like pianist for opera. So means for this kind of pianists, they always work together with an opera company usually, because when you're running an opera, is it is impossible to have always full dress rehearsal with the orchestra because it's very it costs a lot. You involve so many players. So usually what they did before the real stage performance, so the singers always will need to rehearse with a pianist. So that's where the pianist will work closely with the director and with the whole opera company to run through the rehearsals, perhaps let's say like 2 months or 3 months before. So this is one of the opportunity that maybe a pianist could look into it as a what we call the piano for opera. Okay, and the second one that I would suggest is as a piano collaborator, or in our context, I mean in Asian usually we call it as an accompanist, right? So um, I actually prefer the word collaborator rather than accompanist, but unfortunately here we always use accompanist because uh, I really see that actually piano accompaniment part actually is equally as demanding as the soloist. I mean, no matter you are playing violin or cello or other instruments, actually, the pianists always have the equal part with the solo part as well. So that one, of course, you can play. There are many ways you are becoming as a piano collaborator. Like you could be a piano duet with your partners, or chamber musics. You play with a few players, trio, quartet. And there are a lot more. So these all I would prefer to call it as a collaborator rather than as an accompanist. Yeah, that's another way. The third one I would say is like myself. So if you are a pianist and if you really love to read a lot, let's say you love to read about academic books or research things about music performance or about piano performance or any other topics that you really like to explore. So I think you could try it out with to become as an academician and practitioner like what I'm doing right now. So means you need to do a lot of research or readings about on your areas. You really you are the expertise on your area. Yeah. And last but not least, of course, you also could be an arranger or composers, even though you are a pianist. But because as a pianist, we have basically everything on our fingers. So what we can do, not only playing, but actually we can do some our own arrangement. Also our own compositions as well. So because I think you can see that actually most of the let's say Western classical works, most of the composer actually themselves are a pianist, yeah, or a keyboardist. So that's why when they compose, they also always think in terms of the, in terms of the instrument. So because of the familiarity with the instrument, so they can construct whatever they want. So there's also another way of or opportunities if you are working as a pianist. Yeah. So now just show you again, share with you few for myself the opportunity that I get to perform as a duo partner or as a group players. So the first one I would like to share with you is with my piano duo partner Yu Yin Fen. So we are playing piano four hands since 2011 because I met her during my master studies in Scotland. Yeah. So I just show you just a little bit. So this is the performance we did in 2014 during a festival in Ireland.
For the second annual Boyne Music Festival at Townley Hall for a weekend of chamber music, poetry and song. Guys, congratulations on an absolutely amazing performance. How did it feel to perform in Townley Hall?
It is absolutely wonderful, amazing in such beautiful place. And we are so honored to be invited to such beautiful festival because we are not only playing, but we have the chance to watch all those professional artists perform as well. So we are just so honored to be and pleased to come here.
And so how long have you guys been together, or how did it all come about that you are duetting?
Actually, we met in Scotland when we were studying master degrees in Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. It was in 2010. So it was 4 years ago when we first formed the piano duo group. And since then, we've been practicing quite a lot of duet and duo pieces and trying to get our opportunities to get more music collaboration in the future.
Have you been in our...
Yeah, so that's during our TV interview. We are quite honored to be part of the festival interview session. So this is one of the way because I used to play quite a lot with Yin Fen as a piano four hands team. Yeah. And another one, so this one is instrumentalist. Another one I would like to share is I also have been working with quite a few vocalist singers. Yeah. So this one I would like to show with all of you is a vocal professor from Royal Irish Academy, the place that I study for my doctorate. So let me just try to open. Okay, so here you go. So this is Yeah, so that's one of the recital that I did with the vocal professor, Virginia. She's an Irish singer, and she has been performed quite a lot in many prestigious places like Royal Opera House in London, quite a few places. Yeah, so it's such an honor to perform together with her. Yeah. So do we have some time yet, or maybe I don't know, Brian? If
I think we have time for maybe one more video, and yeah.
yeah, sure. So so that's one is a singer's part, and of course I also play with. Just now I play with piano with singers, and of course I with other instruments as well. So I play with winds instruments, so an oboe. So actually is from but by the way I'm a Sabahan as well. So I I working with this Sabahan as well is Howard Ng. So an oboist, yeah. So we used to play quite a lot as well together as a chamber music partner as well. So this is one of the performance we did in my university. Okay, so just let you guys have a look. Yeah, so that's one of the pieces we perform. I think we are doing all the English composers reciter. Yeah, that's from York Bowen, sonata for oboe and piano. Yeah, so you could see that as a pianist, there are so much opportunities, or playing with all others, not only with piano but with instrumentalists and also with singers, provided one of the way that for pianists to explore, to really find out what are they looking for themselves. Beside would like to become a solo performer, but why not to have a look in this area, like especially in chamber music or ensemble playing with other partners. So it is one of the way to become a pianist as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing those videos with us, Songket. And yeah, it was definitely a very insightful. It was definitely very insightful, like regarding all the different alternatives instead of being just a solo pianist as well. So yeah. Um, before we move on, I would just like to remind our audience that if you have any questions, please feel free to type them out in the Q&A section down below. Or if you are on YouTube, you can just type them out in the live chat down below, and we'll address them shortly. So moving on. So what are the paths that you took in becoming a pianist? Did you try out every single one of the jobs that you mentioned earlier on?
Yeah. So now I would like to share with all of you, I myself as an example that how I find myself during the journey as a pianist. So like I said before, I myself, I'm originally from Sabah. I from a small town called Keningau. It's 2 hours drive from Kota Kinabalu. So when I started the journey in piano playing, I learned piano actually in a church setting because I myself is a Christian. So my first piano lesson actually is under a pastor, Pastor Wu. So he is the first mentor for me on piano playing. But what I explored during that time is mostly on like playing simple chords and also on basic stuff on piano. Yeah. But when I transfer to another teacher, also a pastor as well, Pastor Lucy, she's from Indonesian, but she's an Indonesian Chinese. So she is working as a piano teacher in Tenem. Tenem is another small town, and Keningau, and she used to travel every Friday to Keningau, like on Friday and Saturday. So that's where I get to learn with another mentor on my piano playing, and she influenced quite a lot on my own perceptions regarding to piano playing. Why? Because she has a children's choir in the church. So when I started piano lesson with her, so the first thing that she asked me is if I could join the choir as well. So that time I'm thinking, oh, is that related with my piano playing? So then the pastor Lucy said, oh, of course you should join, and she just give me some ideas how it works as a choir, and how, let's say, maybe next time as a accompanist for the choir, how should I work with a group of singers. So that's why from there I started to learn how, musically actually things are connected with each other. So not only you playing for yourself. So from that, during that time, I really learned a lot about how to working as not only as a pianist, but also pianist collaborator with a choir during that particular time when I studied with her. Yeah. And then, as a typical, let's say, a Malaysian student, so I actually undertook a very normal, study path that everyone taken before. So I did took all the, like PMR, SPM, STPM. But when I finished my SPM, my piano grade actually that time is only, I think only grade 5 or grade 6. So that's why Pastor Lucy encouraged me, why not I stay in Keningau and maybe just take STPM so that I can further until I finish up my grade 8 piano before I further, let's say, my bachelor degree. So then I continue with her, and I got my grade 8 piano. Then after that, I just applied to study local universities in UPM. So I studied a Bachelor of Music over there for 3 years. Then after that, during my bachelor studies, there's the time also a good point that you will see even more things, because that is my first time also I came over Peninsula for my own to study there. So, and I see a lot of even more different kind of musical activities happening there. So I used to also accompany quite a few gigs or performances when studying bachelor in UPM. Yeah. And after that, after when I finished, then I asked my piano professors or piano lecturers, what should I do for my next step? Then she suggested that maybe I could further, because maybe could go even further to see even more things. So then I tried to apply overseas, and I did apply few places like in Australia, in UK and Europe, but at the end I chosen the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland in Glasgow, in Scotland, because they offer a more kind of attractive scholarship for me, so that financially is not that burden. So I went over there to take my master degree for a year. So it's an intensive course actually, because usually master study is 2 years, right? But for that one, because they have so many options, so you could choose like a very intensive a year of program, or you want to do as usual, 2 years also possible. So, but for me, because I think financially it's quite tight, so I chosen the more intensive one. But actually, not really that intensive, but you need to do, within 1 year you need to do the 2 years things. Yeah. So that's where even bigger exploration for me, because that's the place that I started to understand actually as a pianist, you get to not only play solo, but you get to play quite a lot of different performance opportunities, like I mentioned before. Like you want to play for opera, or you play as a collaborator, chamber music, or even if you want to specialize in contemporary music. But the contemporary music here doesn't mean, like the pop song is more on kind of like avant-garde, more, more technically demanding pieces. So that's where I started to see, oh, actually as a pianist, we could do so many things that actually we would like to do, not only as a solo pianist. Yeah. So when I finished master, then I came back to Sabah, and I'm trying to find a job. And after that, I get opportunities to work as that time they call as a temporary lecturing job in Sultan Idris Education University. Yeah, because that time actually they have a policy that if you want to become a full-time or permanent staff as a government servant, so we need to get a doctorate degree. But actually, fortunately, they will provide everything for you to get your doctorate degree. So I'm just at the right time when I get over there to work as a lecturer, and everything seems quite smooth on the steps. Then I further my studies in Royal Irish Academy for 4 years, from 2012 to 2016. Yeah. Then after that, after I finished, because the scholarship provided by the university and also by the ministry, so I was bonded to 6 years contract here. So actually, it's not a bad deal, because at least when I finish, then I have a secure job, as a musician. So that's where I started again, expand again my horizon on, the the prospect as a pianist, in not only in Asian context, but actually in the whole world, what you can do if you are a pianist. Yeah. So that's where I see myself, how I position myself. So now, if you ask me what is my position now as a pianist, I would say I'm a academician, and also at the same time, I'm also a practitioner. But if you ask what is the preference actually in myself, of course, I would choose for practitioners, but it doesn't mean that I don't like to do any academic works, but it's just that I love to perform. Yeah. So that's why if you still remember from the beginning, I say I struggling to find the balance in between, as a academician and a practitioner. So until now, I'm still struggling, but I'm trying my best, to fit well within this paradigm of working environment. Yeah.
All right, but it definitely sounds like you're doing a really good job with it. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically I'm considered quite lucky, because I just keep trying out, every possible, chances or opportunities. Like even when I apply for further studies, I don't apply just for one particular places, but I just try to apply as much as I could, so that when you get, the offers, you could try to compare, and then you could decide yourself afterwards, what is the best option for you. So it's always decisions in life. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
other than like everything that you shared with us, which is a lot already, do you have any further advice for the younger generation?
Yeah. Mine's actually just a simple advice for, let's say, the aspiring young pianists. Keep, uh, keep exploring and keep practicing for yourself. Try to keep the best form of yourself as a pianist, but try not to um, try not to narrow yourself to see yourself as only a solo prospect, but actually you try to widen it up and try to have a look what are the chances you might have outside, from your own, solo zone, but look at other opportunities, maybe try to play with other people's, then you might get, who knows, you would like to specialize on that area. Yeah, so just keep exploring and try to widen yourself in this musical horizon as a pianist. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Hong Ken.
Thank you.
So, so before we move on to our Q&A section, we do have one question from the JPO.
Yeah, sure.
So, as you may have heard, the Jesselton Philharmonic Orchestra has involved itself in a variety of activities. So, on behalf of the JPO, I would like to ask you about your views on the JPO and its activities. And additionally, how would you suggest that the JPO and its members further improve itself?
Okay. I think because nowadays not only for JPO, but I knew some of the music organizations in here. Now mostly what they would like to do is what we call the community works or the outreach program, right? So I think this is a very good things to keep it on, because the public need to have an awareness of what is music about, because it's not just only to get you to perform, but actually when you involve with music, actually it also to shape yourself as a human being. Yeah, so I think my advice is only keep on the outreach program, continue working on. And of course, there are many other things, of course, I would like to suggest, but just that I think the outreach program maybe could be widened, to more areas or more people to get to know. Because I think maybe some let's say the town area, they get to know all this, but if for the the countryside places, they might not know at all about the opportunities, to have a try on the instruments or other things. Yeah. So, but I know this is a very big task, to get everyone to know. But at least it's a good start, or a good starting step to make people aware of what music could do for people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that teacher Abling is happy to hear you say this. I'm sure he's probably hoping for something like a domino effect. Like once we do this, maybe like they will continue on to do on the same form. Like
Yes,
hopefully.
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best that we can hope for at this point, I suppose.
True. Yeah.
So yeah. So with that, I think we will move on to our Q&A section, because we do have a few questions in the chat.
All right.
Yep. So let me just check the queue. Okay. Yep. So yeah, we do have a few questions. So our first one comes from an anonymous person. So I've heard that you have adjudicated quite a number of competitions. So would you like to share on your experience on some of these competitions, and what's your opinion on these competitions as well?
Okay. Nowadays, if you notice that the how would I put it in words? It's like, the rate of increase of the competitions, the number of competitions is quite increasing every year. Because I think during, let's say, 10 years or 15 years ago, we won't have that much platforms, like to compete or to perform in public. But especially when I finished my studies from Scotland and came back to Malaysia, and I started to notice there's an increase in like the public events, like competition especially, and music festival. So but these kind of competitions, I would say that usually for Malaysian context, because I think we are still at a beginning step. So usually the festival that I have attended or I have adjudicated here is more on the festival character. So that means everyone is welcome to join, and there are so many categories, and it's based on what you have prepared, and then you just get a chance to perform in public. So I think actually this is a good idea, because at least people then they could, you know, have a chance to enjoy the music, maybe of their children or even of their peers or anyone. So this kind so that's why I would say this kind of competition, I would call it as a kind of like a festival, rather than like, you know, the usual very tough competition like or Chopin, or you know, the more traditional way of competition, because usually that one I would call it as very formal, and because you need to get through many rounds of auditions before you get in. If you are lucky enough, then you have a good lottery luck, then you get into a final round. But in here Asian, we started to have that kind of mode of competition now, but we are still at the beginning step to have this kind of culture of competitions. But of course, I'm not saying that competition is not a good thing, but actually it depends on how you look at it, how you look at it of it of uh, uh, these things. Yeah. So I myself, when I educating, yeah, of course, it would be very exciting to see some very good players, you know, with very young age. They're very, you know, their musicality is just quite very impressive with such a young age. And of course, there are some also good players, but maybe technically is not that match with the musical side. So yeah, so I would say my experience is quite diverse. It depends on what kind of competition or festival that I'm working on. Yeah.
Hmm. All right. Well, it's definitely interesting because like it definitely seems like you need a balance of the two, because you want the enjoyment part of it and then you still
Yes.
need the competition. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
It's always a tricky part when you are invited as a jury. Then of course the organization, they will tell you like what is their objective in organizing this competition or festival. So based on what they're given to you, so you might have some idea also. That's how I should, you know, give the jury works on this kind of level, or you know, or should I get it a higher level of expectations, or even slightly not that high? So it's all case by case. Yeah, it depends on what the competition committee that they would like to do. Yeah.
Understandable. All
Mm,
right.
yeah.
So moving on. I think we have another question from another anonymous
Sure.
person.
Sure.
So, Dr. Tam, could you also share with us about the competition which you were educating online? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. The online one, actually I started actually last year, 2019, which is the WPTA. I think is World Piano Teachers Associations from Finland. So the president of that associations, Jeremy, so he invited me to become a jury for this online competitions thing. So that time I'm quite interested in that, because I say, oh wow, so what are the how should I? Because you know, you as a jury during a live, and you as a jury in an online is, you know, very totally different experience that you have. But I would say that because the organization, they make a very clear you know, rules and regulations, and also the video formatting, they have really make sure that all the participants must follow the format they provided. So I would say that online competition actually is one of the possible way for nowadays, because you know, now we have what we call the pandemic time. So this could be provide one of the path, you know, for music scenes. So online competitions could let, you know, the participants maybe to do their even best form of their performance. Yeah, because sometimes, you know, in life, because of nervous or because of other things, issues, they might not give their best during that time. But online is at least can give the chance for, you know, the participants to do their best, because they can, you know, they can do record and record until they get the best of it. Yeah, and then they just send the recording. Yeah, so I would say that it's a very it's a possible way to do for competitions. But yeah, maybe some people would say it's not, maybe it's not that fair with the live. I mean, it's not equal like the live platform. But still, I think it's still opportunities for people. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Yep. So we do have three more. I think we are running short on time, but I think we will have enough time to just go through these last few.
Sure.
So we have another one from an anonymous person. How do you juggle all your time in between teaching, like doing all the paperwork, performing, and so on, without affecting your practicing, like you mentioned earlier on your paradigm of like balancing all these?
Yes, yes, that's a very, very good question. I am, well, uh, if you're working as I said, as a academicians in a university setting, you really cannot avoid all of those, paperworks, because this is part of your job scope. So you cannot, like escape or not doing it at all. So I would say that maybe I should give, let's say, example like weekdays. Of course, I'm working, but because it depends on each university. Because like my university, usually we need to work for 8 hours. So it depends on the time you clock in and clock out. So when the time I'm clocked in here, so I will start to focusing on all the paperwork first. So all the teaching, all the research, or all the all the things that we need to done as an academician, I will do it during that time. But let's say if the works or the paperwork's all done, so I still have some time, then definitely I will at least use at least an hour or 2 hours to practice maybe some of the pieces that I played before, or even I just practice some scales, or even I just try to sight read some of the new pieces. Yeah, that's how I try to, to steal the time, within 8 hours. Maybe I try to, or even I will extend, let's say after 8 hours. So I might stay here for another 1 or 2 hours to practice some of the pieces. Yeah. So that's how I juggle and, to balance it out with all the workloads and my own practice time. Yeah. And also, of course, if let's say weekends I'm here, then of course I will try to come here and practice as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have a question from Asman A.
Uh-huh.
All right, so he's asking, how do you manage a career in music performance nowadays? As we know, the music industry and audience preferences have changed drastically because of the internet and the new online entertainment platforms.
Yes, that's true. If you see from especially during this pandemic time, I could see there are a lot of drastically changes on, especially on European countries. Let's say I take UK as an example, like the Wigmore Hall, one of the prestigious hall in London. They even start. I mean, because the pandemic period, so they started to offer like online free concerts to everyone to watch at your own comfort in your house or anyway. So for audience preferences, this one I think it depends what kind of maybe, because some people they say, oh, nowadays the let's say I take Western classical music as an example. So people will say, oh, nowadays maybe not much people attend for those kind of concerts, and people will prefer something, technology based things or other things. But surprisingly, but I could see that actually there's always a group of people that will still love to attend this kind of concerts. I don't think majority people will change their preference and to just listen one side of the music. But I think they are trying to explore as much as possible as well for audience. So I don't think is a bad thing that people will change their preference time to time, because they have the right to, they have the right to listen what they want as well. But because we have this internet or online entertainment platform, of course, uh, this is the possibilities that we could, to try to attract people as well. That's why I take the Mohawk as an example. They open online platforms, free concerts for people to see. So that next time, if they're interested, they could go to, in live for the concert hall itself, or etc. as well. Yeah. So the question that how do I manage my career in music performance? Yes, how do I manage? I'm trying to perform as much as possible. I mean, for the past few years. Beside that, yes, trying to get connection with as much as possible with people around, not only in Malaysia, but actually during my studies in Ireland, I get to know quite a few, connections with not only from the European people, but also with other like students from China, from Asian countries. I get to know Korean, so that's where I expanded my connections with the people around the world. So yeah, so that's how I maintain my career as a pianist. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree that connections are very important.
Yes. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
true. Yeah.
So moving on, we have another question from Kong Fang.
Mm-hmm.
Kong Fang. So he's asking, how many postgrad students are you supervising in your uni? Has it been stressful doing so?
For now, not that much. I think I have two. They are studying PhD. One from China, and one from Uzbekistan. One is violinist. One is pianist. So not too bad. I have two. So one of the violinist is going to do her recital soon in the process of preparation. And for the China student, she is will be a bit struggling because on her language side. So that one it might take some time. So that one is quite stressful for me. So yeah, but meanwhile, I also need to be not only have postgraduate students, but I also have to examine get like as a examiners for other postgraduate students as well. Yeah, so I have been examiners for I think two music performance PhD students. Yeah, so it's not bad for now. Yeah, but maybe from time to time I might get more, so it might be even more stressful, but still manageable. Yeah, it just because this is very, as I said, it's case by case, depends on the student's level as well. Yeah.
All right. So moving on, we have another question from Tham Horng.
Uh-huh.
I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So he's saying, "Hi, Dr. Tam. How are you? Are you still playing Eyes on Me?"
Do you know who is him? He's my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I think but it's fine. Yeah, I'm good here. Thanks, brother. I hope everything is okay because he is now in Melbourne. So it's there's they have lockdown there. So I hope you are staying safe here. Staying safe there with your family. So eyes on me. I haven't played it for a while, so I will try to maybe revise a little bit. Yeah, because I think he loved to listen to me play on this piece. When we used to when we still in my hometown, because I have a piano in my home. So sometimes when I practice and then I play other pieces, like one of the pieces like this, then he will say, "Oh, that's a very cool piece. Can you play again?" So then I play again. So it makes such a memory for him. Yeah. So yeah.
And I'm sure maybe like soon you can like just record it and probably send it to him or something.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have time for one last question. So this one last question is coming from Joyce Kam.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so she's asking, how many hours do you practice for a day?
Yeah, this one it depends on my on the phase of my life, Last time when I was a student, of course, minimum at least 5 to 6 hours, because as a music students, you cannot avoid to really need to practice until really make it until perfect. And then because you have the time as well, so that's why we can practice more as a student. But for now, not that much, but that's why I say at least I'm trying to give myself at least an hour or at least 2 hours per day to keep my skills and to keep my fingers alive. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think with that, I think that comes to the end of our program for tonight. So thank you
Okay.
so much for your responses, Hongkat.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So once again, sorry everyone, but we are coming to the end of tonight's broadcast. We would like to remind everyone that our JPO Family Program will be broadcasted twice a week until further notice. So that's every Wednesday and every Sunday night. So join us next time with our next guest, who will be revealed at a later date. So more details on this can be found on our Facebook page. A video recording of tonight's broadcast will also be available on the YouTube channel, along with the past webinars and the soon-to-be broadcasted interviews. So feel free to share the Zoom webinar registration link, the JPO YouTube channel, and the JPO Facebook page with your friends and family. So for those of you on YouTube, if you are enjoying our program, please show your support to us by liking and pressing the subscribe button down below. So once again, you guys have been an amazing audience. So yeah, we from the JPO family wishes that everyone stays safe and healthy as we continue to face this crisis together. So I'll now be leading the prayer to end tonight's program. So please pray in whatever faith you believe in regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. We pray that everyone in the world continues to stay strong in surviving through these difficult times, and that a solution to the virus will soon be found. We pray for everyone's well-being as we continue to hope that the spread of the virus will soon be stopped. We pray for the safety and well-being of everyone working as we approach a new week in September, and as we face the new surges of cases. We pray for the continued safety and morale of the frontliners who are risking their lives so that they may continue to provide for those in need. So, yeah. With that, once again, thank you, Hong Kent, and thank you to everyone joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
So, good night, and we hope to see you all again next time.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And thanks, Brian, and thanks, Yapling, as well. Yeah, thank you for tonight. It's really an honor to be part of this broadcast live with all of you. Yeah. So have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Right, see you.
Yeah.